The following module is presented to you via Canvas. I have created this model via Sandbox for this assignment. The first page is giving students an overview of the activities they will complete during this module. Students are able to gain connections to previous learning content, such as step functions. Additionally, this page also reviews the definition of absolute value and provides students with a visual to clarify the meaning of absolute value. Lastly, this page provides students with the objective as well as the module outline. This slide is asking students to look at the graph and fill in the absolute value. As students fill in the numbers, a graph will present itself, an absolute value function. Students are able to make connections to previous learned content. This activity will also serve as a pre-assessment. The Desmos activity provides students with the understanding that absolute value functions can be transformed, just like step functions. While students utilize the slider to transform the function, the questions below should guide students' thinking. To synthesize, students are asked to answer one of the question prompts and are then asked to reply to two classmates. As students are learning more about other students' responses during the discussions, students are then asked to synthesize their learning by watching the provided video. The next activity is a Desmos activity. This activity is asking students to engage in a learning task in which students are matching vertex form with the aligned picture. This allows students to practice what they have learned. Rather than using a paper and pencil activity, this engages students in a visual learning. The following slide is asking students to work with a partner to complete the activity. Students are able to utilize student discourse to match vocabulary words with the correct visual. This is especially important for our English language learners. The gravity activity is timed and can be used with at least 2 players. In this check for understanding, students are asked to practice what they have learned since the beginning of the module. Students will evaluate absolute value functions, select absolute value functions given a description of transformation, select absolute value functions given a graph, and select the correct graph given the equation for an absolute value function. During the practice assessment, students are asked various ways: small paragraph responses, multiple choice, and more. The next slide directly feeds into differentiation. This page serves as a menu in which students are able to access additional resources of their liking and practice more transformations with absolute value functions before taking the assessment at the end of the module. This page also provides students with an answer key so that students can check their answers. The next page serves as a summarizer to transformations of absolute value functions. This page ties back to linear functions as well as quadratic functions, which they were taught before absolute value functions. During each of these, students already learned about the a, h, and k values. During the topic of absolute value functions, students were able to apply these learnings and transform the new function, absolute value functions. Lastly, students are asked to show their knowledge during a quiz. This quiz ties directly in with the objectives and is asking students questions in various formats, such as multiple choice questions, paragraph formats, multiple select questions, as well as true and false answers. This is the end of the module.